You know that moment when you're texting someone you really like and everything feels like it's going well until it doesn't? You can't pinpoint exactly when it shifted, but suddenly her replies get shorter, take longer, and then one day you're just staring at scene 3 hours ago wondering what the hell happened. Here's what I need you to understand. We don't ghost you because you're boring. We don't ghost because you said the wrong thing once. We ghost because the way you text starts to feel like pressure or performance, and we can sense it through the screen even when you think you're being smooth. I'm going to walk you through the 10 texting mistakes that make women disappear, and I'm going to tell you exactly what we're feeling when you make them. Because most of the time, you have no idea. Number 1. You think you're being attentive. You think quick responses show you're interested and available. But here's what happens on our end. When you reply within seconds every single time, it doesn't feel like enthusiasm. It feels like you're sitting there waiting for us to text you. And that energy, that waiting, watching energy, it's heavy. We start to feel like every message we send is being analyzed, dissected, and immediately responded to by someone who clearly doesn't have much else going on. It's not that we want you to play games or wait hours to reply. It's that we want to feel like we're texting someone who has a life, not someone whose day revolves around our messages. When you're always instantly available, it makes us wonder, what are you not doing? What are you not focused on? And slowly, that wondering turns into pulling away. Number 2. Hey, how was your day? You okay? Just checking in all sent within the span of 2 hours because we didn't respond immediately. This is where you completely misread the situation. You think you're being caring or persistent. What you're actually doing is showing us your anxiety in real time. Here's what we feel when we see those stacked messages. Pressure. Like we owe you our time and attention on your timeline. Like you're not comfortable with the natural ebb and flow of conversation. Like you need constant reassurance that we're still interested. And honestly, that neediness makes us want to step back. Not because we're cruel, but because your anxiety about our response time tells us you're probably not that secure in yourself. And insecurity, especially the kind that needs constant validation, is exhausting to be around. Number 3. I didn't mean to sound weird in that last text. I was just thinking about how you mentioned you like Italian food, and I know this great place, but I don't want you to think I'm being presumptuous or anything. I just thought maybe if you're free sometime. Stop. Just stop. When you over-explain, you're essentially telling us that you don't trust us to understand you or give you the benefit of the doubt. You're also showing us that you're second-guessing yourself constantly, which means you're probably second-guessing us too. Women can sense when a man is trying to control how we perceive him through his words. And that control, that need to manage our impression of you, feels manipulative even when it's not intentional. We want to text someone who says what they mean and means what they say, not someone who's constantly adding disclaimers and hedging their bets. Number 4. You're so beautiful. I love your smile. You're amazing. I can't stop thinking about you, all within the first week of texting. You think you're being romantic. You think you're making us feel good. But here's the thing. Compliments from someone who doesn't really know us yet feel empty. They feel like you're trying to fast-track intimacy or like you're throwing out generic praise hoping something will stick. When you compliment us constantly, especially early on, it doesn't make us feel special. It makes us feel like you'd probably say the same things to any woman who gave you attention. And that realization? That's usually when we start pulling back. Number 5. She mentions she's tired from work, and you immediately launch into advice about time management. She shares something she's excited about, and you play devil's advocate. She mentions a frustration, and you explain why she shouldn't feel that way. You think you're being helpful or intellectually engaging. What you're actually doing is making every conversation feel like work. We're not texting you to be corrected, improved, or intellectually challenged at every turn. Sometimes we're just sharing our day and want someone to get it. When you constantly debate or fix or analyze everything we say, it stops feeling like conversation and starts feeling like we're being tested. And nobody wants to feel like they're taking an exam every time they text someone they like. Number 6. We tell you about something that happened to us, And instead of responding to what we shared, you immediately launch into your own story. Oh, that reminds me of this time I... Or same thing happened to me but worse. You think you're relating to us. You think you're finding common ground. But what you're actually doing is making it clear that you weren't really listening to what we said. You were just waiting for your turn to talk. This is especially frustrating because it reveals something deeper. You're more interested in being heard than in hearing us. And when we realize that, we stop sharing. Because what's the point of telling you about our day if you're just going to use it as a springboard for your own stories? Number 7, are you mad at me? I feel like you're being distant. Is everything okay between us? These messages, especially when they come after we've just had a normal conversation or when we've been a little busy, are relationship killers. Because they show us that you're monitoring our mood, our tone, our response time, and making our natural fluctuations about your insecurity. When you constantly check in on whether we're okay with you, it makes us feel like we can't have a bad day, be tired, or just be human without you spiraling. It puts us in the position of constantly reassuring you, and that's exhausting. We want to text someone who's secure enough to not need constant emotional temperature checks. Number 8, every message is crafted to be funny, impressive, or profound. You're trying so hard to be the perfect texter that the conversation stops feeling natural. We can sense when someone is performing for us, and it's uncomfortable. Here's what happens. We start to feel like we need to match your energy, like we need to be equally witty or engaging in every response. And that pressure makes texting feel like work instead of fun. We want to text someone who's comfortable just being themselves, not someone who's auditioning for the role of guy I want to date. I had this guy once who seemed perfect on paper, smart, funny, attractive, but every single message felt like he was trying to win me over. There was no ease, no natural flow. It was like he was performing interested guy instead of just being interested. And after a while, I realized I was exhausted by the effort it took to keep up with his performance. Number 9, the emotional dumping. This is when you treat our text conversation like your therapy session. You go deep into your problems, your fears, your past relationships, your work drama, your family issues. You think you're being vulnerable and open. But there's a difference between appropriate vulnerability and emotional dumping. Vulnerability is sharing something meaningful that helps us understand you better. Emotional dumping is using us as an unpaid therapist before we've even established that level of intimacy. When you dump your emotional baggage on us through text, especially early on, it doesn't make us feel closer to you. It makes us feel responsible for your emotional state, and that's a burden we didn't sign up for. Number 10, the projection. This is the deepest one, and it's often the real reason we ghost. You start projecting your own insecurities, your past experiences, your assumptions about women onto us. You assume we're playing games when we're just living our lives. You assume we're losing interest when we're just busy. You assume we're like your ex when we're nothing like her. Your messages start to feel like they're responding to some version of us that exists only in your head. And when we realize that you're not actually texting us, but rather texting your fears about us, your fantasies about us, your projections about us, we check out. Because we want to be seen and known as who we actually are, not managed as who you think we might be. Here's what all of these mistakes have in common. They're all about you trying to control the outcome instead of just being present in the conversation. They're about your anxiety, your insecurity, your need for validation, your fear of rejection. And when your texting becomes about managing your own emotional state instead of connecting with us, we feel it. We don't ghost you because you're not good enough. We ghost because you're not actually with us. You're with your fears about us, your projections about us, your strategies for keeping us interested. And that energy is lonely to be around. We want to text someone who's comfortable in their own skin. Someone who can have a conversation without needing to win it, control it, or constantly check if they're doing it right. Someone who's interested in who we are, not just in whether we're interested in them. We want presence, not performance. We want someone who can be quiet when there's nothing to say, who can let conversations breathe, who can handle the natural rhythms of getting to know someone without panicking every time there's space. The sexiest thing you can do in a text conversation is be genuinely curious about us while being genuinely okay with yourself. That's it. That's the whole game. Texting isn't about finding the right words or the perfect timing. It's about who you're being while you send them. Are you being someone who's trying to manage our impression of you? Or are you being someone who's just genuinely interested in getting to know us? The difference between those two energies is the difference between someone we want to keep talking to and someone we slowly start to avoid. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be smooth. You just need to be secure enough to show up as yourself and curious enough to want to know who we really are. That's the kind of texting that makes us want to text you back, not the kind that makes us want to disappear. So next time you're about to send that message, ask yourself, am I texting her or am I texting my anxiety about her? Because she can tell the difference and so can you. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. And remember, the right person will appreciate your authentic self way more than they'll ever appreciate your perfect performance.